Good morning and welcome back. Welcome to Who Am I? I've got good news this morning. I've got good news and then I've got news. Well, no, it's all the same. I've got good news. I turned this into a podcast. Yay, I just did it this morning. I posted yesterday's episode as the first one. I could go back in and put them all in there. The bad news is I really don't know where to find this podcast. I've called it Who Am I? Let's see if we can find it. In any case, so look for it where you get your podcasts. It's a YouTube podcast, wherever you get your YouTube podcasts. It's over there. It's called Who Am I? And it's actually the same show that you can see here. So I'm just going to post it as a video, and I'm going to post it as a podcast every day. So whichever one is more convenient for you to listen to. All of you, half a dozen of my faithful followers. I might get more followers if people could find me. If I do things to, dangle bait to try to attract people. But, I've been focusing on the project of trying to get good at this talking to myself thing. Not everybody can do it, and I wasn't able to do it at first, not until you practice, not until you try. I used to sit or lay in my bed in the wee hours of the early morning, awake and warm and cozy inside my bed with my eyes closed, thinking about everything, pulling it all together. Everything from the meaning of all the world around me. What am I looking at? What does it mean? What does it mean to my life? What does it mean to the rules? What's the object of the exercise? I'd think about all those things in bed, but I'd have thoughts, really good thoughts, quiet but really strong thoughts would come into my mind. And I'd put these things together, and I thought, oh my gosh, if only I could get this down on paper. It's really good. So I thought maybe the answer might be that I would get into under the covers with a piece of paper and a pencil and see if I could write some of this that way. Well, of course, that didn't work. So then I started getting up really early in the morning and going to a different part of the house, getting all comfortable again, but awake this time and sitting up, thinking about stuff with my eyes closed, but trying to speak out loud. And I did that for a while, and then I started recording that. I have all those recordings on my phone, on a little app on my phone. And then I went to Audacity, and I have probably, I don't know if it's hundreds, but I have lots and lots and lots and lots of this show on Audacity. And then finally, last November, or maybe it was a little earlier than that, October, September, I don't know. I could go look at the dates on my videos. My daughter set me up in my OBS studio, and I started recording this way. And the pictures you see behind me, the ones that I pick, all of the greats, this is the one I did yesterday, and I have all these favorite ones. I love this one. I have a number of these. There's that boy should be up here. Anyway, doesn't matter. I get them off of Pixabay. That's what I do. And now I've been recording this way, but I've been doing this it's been 2 or 3 years in the making, if longer. I made the first stirrings about wanting to create this studio space for myself in our house back in 2018. That's now 6 years ago. So, and then the material, I pull it from my whole life's journey worth of trying to figure out the meaning of this life. What is the truth about all the religions? How do they all fit together? And they do all fit together because they all exist in the same world. That's how they fit together. Now, how they say they fit together, that could be something completely different. But, they do fit together. Everything fits together. Science and religion works together because science is in this world and religion is in this world. And there is validity to religion and there is absolutely validity to science. But in as far as it keeps an open mind and keeps churning an open inquiry to the farthest edges of what we know, then science is valid. If it becomes stagnant and co-opted by the social forces of the moment, the political realities or the social and economic happenings on the ground, then science has a problem. And I'll tell you right now, science, our commercial science, has a bit of a problem. It has a bit of a closed mind. What it is looking for, because it's working for business, what our science is mostly geared towards is not open-minded, fresh outlooks, but rather how to produce technology, physical technology that can be sold by the companies to us. Now, I say that, but it's not actually all bad that we should be sold technologies. People should be creating technologies. But what I want to do with this show, Who Am I, is I want to pull it all together. And I realize that is a very tall order. It's a very... and subjective, too, because when I say all, this is the place to do this. No, I do have this. Where is it? Putting it all together. When I talk about the all part of this, I gotta go find there we go. It's very subjective in the sense that it's coming from all of the things that I have run across, I have thought about, I care about, that sort of thing. I can't come across everything. I can only come across what I come across, and even that is vast, let alone all the incredible vast things that doesn't cover. So when I say put it all together, it's sort of a process. And you can do it from wherever you are. Whatever your putting it all together looks like, where I came from, how I add into the story of humanity. Because we have a collective story, and then that story the rubber meets the road right there at your life. So you meet the story there too. But we have a collective story. And this collective story is really interesting. And the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves makes all the difference in the world about how we can or cannot, or the specific way we approach our lives and our problems and each other. How have you set up your own individual consciousness? And is it in alignment with the truth of the matter and the consciousness and the field around you? Is it in alignment with all of that? At least generally. It needs to just generally be in alignment. You can go off and be a little funky wild on your own. The universe can handle a great deal of diversity. It not only can handle it, it really, really loves diversity. When you can find a new track and be it and flesh it out and bloom it out for the rest of the universe to iterate and iterate and iterate, then it's a blessing to us all. So go out and be yourself. Whatever kind of crazy it turns out this is the time of crazy. There was a moment, and if you study our history, you'll see that we had this moment, and since this is who we are, and things are cyclical and vibrational, and a lot of these patterns keep replaying, it's possible that some patterns will try to go back to more rigid places. But I'm hoping you can't ever put that genie back in the bottle. But back in the day, if you look at our old TV shows, you can see how clearly it was. You had to be a particular way in order to meld and merge and play and dance with society and be accepted and all that. And the one form that was considered proper here in America for a while, it was just the white version. I mean, the other versions, of course, existed. We had Asians and black and brown and speckled people. We've always had, all the people have always existed. But only the image of one group of them with one set of rules and one set of norms was ever shown to us collectively as this is who we are, and this is, I don't know why I'm bringing that up. It is interesting, though. Oh, it's because I said, this is the time for diversity, people. This is the blessed time of ultimate diversity. Let your freak flag fly, but stay connected to your source so that whatever you're doing, it's loving, it's whole, it's full, it's integrated, because that's what the problem, fragmentation is. Fragmentation and polarity are the enemy. Do we have an enemy? There is no enemy. There is no enemy, and I don't care how badly the neighbors are acting up. They need to be rehabilitated. They don't need to be punished, removed, ostracized, killed, resisted. We all need to understand who we are. And we all need to understand that we are in this together. And every single one of us is here for a reason, because God created us. And the pattern around you is always a wholeness. It's just by definition. You look around you and you're just seeing the whole thing from your perspective. And it's every landscape you walk into different. It's just a different spot on the grid that you're looking at the same thing. What does that mean? What does that mean? Who am I? Who am I? Where did we come from? Where are we going? Why are we here? What's the object of the exercise? And then we lightly and briefly discuss what are the problems that humanity faces. The biggest problems, in a nutshell, encapsulated all of our problems woven into, some 30 words that can be spouted off in a half a minute. We talk about that, and then we talk about how we might approach how to fix any of those problems collectively, from a systems approach, from a whole systems approach, because we are a super being. And there are systems in place that keeps this super being alive. We have this supply chain. And I personally don't know anybody who's not on the supply chain. Now, there might be people who aren't on the supply chain, but I wouldn't know them because I'm on the supply chain, and I with billions of others. The ones not on the supply chain are not in communication with the rest of the group. They're out there without cell phones, without electricity, without computers. They aren't up on the internet. They are subsistence farmers and whatever, or fishers or whatever, if it's even possible to be that on this world anymore. And it might be that we're creating a kind of scarcity so that the only way that we can survive is that we do link up with each other. It might be that that's what's working out for us. All this other crap that isn't working is actually trying to guide us to this other thing, which is actually what we need to do. It's possible. I've got this thing in my I should take a picture of it and then screenshot that and put it in the OBS studio so I can show it to you. It's backwards. But when you put it on your dash, it reflects correctly. And so then you can see in this faint mirror image at the base of your dash, wherever you want to put it so that it's not really in your way, but you can see it every time when you drive. You're always reminded of this deep, deep truth going on around us, which is things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. And so you just have to keep your faith that things are always working out for you. And if it doesn't look to you like things are always working out for you, then what must need to shift is your frame of reference. What frame of reference is it? Okay, well, the frame of reference I had, which I was trying out as potential truth, the frame of reference I had, these things that have just happened, that doesn't look like it's working out for me. So there must be a bigger frame that I am coming from, a bigger frame that we are all coming from, that my inner being is coming from. She knows that things are always working out for me. She knows that even as mankind is deeply... Now, I know this is going to sound so horrible, and I don't mean it to. I really don't, but you got to understand, everything that has ever happened to us is okay, no matter how freaking not okay it was. And I'm going to give you the ultimate example here. So I was going to say, like, even in the middle of the freaking Holocaust, things somehow were still working out for humanity. How could that possibly be? Well, I'll take a stab at it. We need to learn about this authoritarian psychosis. We need to understand what it is, because it's not just the authoritarian that has the issue with it. It is the millions and millions of followers who believe that a strong man will fix things. And one of the reasons is that a very, very strong man in deep and complete alignment with truth and reality and what really is best for all of us and who we are and all that, if we were living in a structure where we all, would follow this one person who was deeply in touch with, whatever, in alignment with their own overview soul, and so is actually doing the best for all the people, they would come to be known as some sort of blessed kingdom era. But that one's gonna die, and you don't have a good system for electing the proper authoritarian. In actual fact, it's kind of an oxymoron kind of a thing, because the problem is that we don't need someone to save us. We need to know who we are, so that each and every one of us is strong and brave and wise. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? It almost seems like pie in the sky, like that could never be. Well, I'll tell you right now, I am an idealist. So if you're not up with idealism, you can just tune out. I'm kidding. Please don't tune out. I am an idealist, or I was fiddling with this yesterday. Am I an idealistic realist, or am I a realistic idealist? I'm one of the two, or both at the same time. Because there is a factor of realism that we've got to factor in here, people. We really need to understand how this field works, who we are as energy, what are the rules of the universe, what is the meaning of my GPS guidance system, my emotional guidance system, how does it all work, how can I put all of this together? I want to look at the story that we tell ourselves, about who humanity is, where we came from, and how we're designed. One of the reasons that I bring up that I think that we're genetically modified is because I think somebody designed us this way intentionally. And so I think it's valuable to explore what this design is. We have been given an overview, physical, specific, conventional mind. And there's something really important about that. Because having been given a physical overview mind, now, we have emotions that blend or do not, that are our indication of how that personal overview mind is blending or not blending with the source-based overview mind that you already have, that you cannot escape, that you actually are this mind. You are part of this mind along with everyone else is part of this mind. And all of the consciousness that you are and all of the things that you are learning and knowing and creating and being are all feeding into the great wholeness that is our collective collection of all of that. But that kind of, just to say it that way, sort of does not recognize your individual importance, because when you say, oh yeah, the whole picture is just everything added up, and you are that little tiny twitch of dust over here that twitched for a second in this part of the galaxy, you're dust in the wind. When you look at it from a physical standpoint and you try to see your relativity, your relative worth to the whole, when you look at it physically, you look like nothing. I am one of 8 billion people, and I'm old. I'm gonna die here soon. And nobody knows who I am. I have this little podcast. But everybody has a podcast now. Do you know what kind of technology, what kind of content creator friendly technology we got going on out there? Everybody's got a voice. It's so amazing. It's really cool. So you actually have to do something. You have to focus a little harder if you want to get the attention of the crowd. And I haven't been doing that. I have been just sort of, la-di-daing my way into this, but the focus of my work has been trying to create an environment where I can get my inner voice to come out and talk outside and not just inside my brain. Because I can hear it inside my brain. I can hear it, and it seems to be speaking to me in words that are English, so you would understand them. I mean, you feel it as, like Abraham says, you're getting blocks of vibration that you translate into English or Farsi or Spanish or Greek or whatever language you speak, Hindi or Swahili or... but I do English because, frankly, English is the only real language I know. I've taken French, Spanish, and Swahili in school and don't remember much of any of it. I could count to 10 in all of the languages, and I could say hello and goodbye. How are you? My name is... Can I still say that in Swahili? No, I can't still say that one in Swahili. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who am I? Who are we? And how does a better understanding of who we are get us from where we are collectively as a people, as humanity, to where we want to be collectively as humanity? And where would I say that we want to be? We want to be in a place where our systems are running smoothly and efficiently. And all of the players involved, every one of the people involved in all of the systems. What are our systems? Our communications, transportation, financial, transportation. Did I say that one? I think I said that one already. Energy systems, distribution systems, food supply, technology, but there's systems of the production and distribution of information and goods and technology, food supplies, services, healthcare, all of that. Every one of those things, every one of us is participating in and needs it to be running for the good of us all in the hands of people who are running it for the good of themselves. But so I think I know what the answer is. All of us need to be reaching for, this is what we need to be reaching for. You need to be reaching for a position that helps yourself, for sure. Everybody has to be self-oriented. There isn't any, what other orientation am I going to have? The orientation of somebody else? You have to have a selfish orientation. The difference is, am I looking at a I'm winning and you're all losing paradigm? Or am I trying to reach for the ultimate win-win-win-win-win-win position? Or anywhere in between, you know? And how well it's meshing with the whole field is an expression of how in alignment it is with the rest of the field and realities around you. And if it is in alignment with the field and realities around you, then everyone's needs are being met and things are blending perfectly. It's harmonizing, and people don't even really have to think about it. So what we're really reaching for is a philosophy that will get us there. Isn't that funny? It is a philosophy that will get us there. Now, I say we are all in this together, and we are all in this together, and that's really important. But you can be all in this together from as hermity of a position as you want to be. Whatever feels right to you. If you feel more right pulling back from the crowd and thinking your own thoughts, instead of being forced all the time to join the group and be part of the group and sacrifice yourself for the group and stuff like that. I have always been a party pooper, frankly. I've been the person who everybody says, let's go do this. And I'm like, no, I want to go do that by myself. And I have never completely understood this impulse of mine. But I have this impulse, and, you know, from some perspective, bless every one of your impulses. Bless it, and then stand back from it and look at it. And you may not want to keep doing it, but by blessing it and then stepping back from it, you can see it. If you're still trying to deny it, deny that it's you and not accept it and not bless it, then you aren't seeing it. It'll stay stuck and attached to you in a way that you haven't blessed it or accepted it or stepped away from it, and so you can't move away from it, and so it's stuck to you. And so you see how blessing it actually is the beginning of letting it go if it turns out to be a bad behavior. Whatever it is that you have done, whatever it is that you are doing, there is a reason why. Perhaps the reason why, and the thing that you've done is a terrible thing, and the reason why you've done it is you got yourself turned backwards. And now you were seeing things, you didn't see that darkness that was attached to you. And so you weren't able to correct it or acknowledge it or anything. But if you bless it and stand away from it and go, everything I'm doing for a reason, but I want to look at it. So I'm going to, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to keep going. Who am I? What is the story that we tell about ourselves, that we tell ourselves about ourselves? Well, in the general, in the mainstream, now I probably need to go to another seminar of Greg's so that I can get a sense of where science is at any given moment, because I just go off and do my own thing, and I think my own thoughts, and I put my own things together, and in the meantime, other people could be actually advancing in ways that I don't even know about. And so I'm still over here saying, we don't understand, blah, 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 blah. And over there, people are understanding it, and I just wasn't in touch with that because I'm off just thinking my own thoughts, So for all I know, No, I think there would be big news. Some of this stuff, if mainstream science had cracked the code, don't you know they'd have been screaming it from the rooftops. I think they haven't figured out how to make this unified physics stuff um, financially work the best for them. And they're freaked out about things like it implies a lot of things about consciousness itself. And the people who are studying the physics, who are in the scientific laboratories, in a way, you cannot separate what you're looking at from who you are. And so at some point, you have to pull philosophy into the laboratory. And I'm telling you, our conventional mainstream scientists have been very loath to do that, very reluctant to do that. And as a matter of fact, to use the C word in a physics laboratory, 20 years ago, they would have thrown you out on your ear, 10 years ago. Well, Nassim published his work 12 years ago, and I think there was still a great deal of problems then. See, now I don't know what the state of it. If in a mainstream scientific laboratory you use the word consciousness, are you still going to be thrown out? I don't know. I remember if you know me and my work, you will have heard somewhere down the line that one of my first gurus of this open-minded, seeking soul that I have been all my life. One of my first ones was Deepak came in the mid-90s. At the end of the 80s, it was Joseph Campbell. Now, there was some material available then, because the mid-80s is about when Esther started channeling Abraham. I think it might be around when Daryl Anka started channeling Bashar, too. I'm not sure. I think they both started in the 80s. I'm sure of Abraham, and I think that of Bashar, too. In any case, back in that the show where Joseph Campbell is talking, Bill Moyers says to him, he says, they're starting to openly use the C word now. No, that's not what he said. He talks about using the word Gaia, too, to talk about the world as a whole organism. And then at some point he talked about people starting to use the word consciousness when they're talking about some of this stuff. At some point, your physics has to meet a philosophy. And what is the philosophy of life that you've got? Is it a paradigm of competition? Is it a paradigm of cooperation and co-creation with each other and the field around us, and our own soul's overview, our own vibrational inner being, dancing in the middle of all of this, giving us signals all the time about how well we are doing vibrationally with our thoughts. And it's our thoughts that matter. It is our thoughts that matter, because the ideas that you have, the beliefs that you hold, are what is producing your emotions. And the reason that it's not because what we think of the reason why that is. Oh, yes, my emotions are, my thoughts are, and what I am observing is creating my emotions, because when things are going bad, I should feel bad, and that's my signal that I need to fix something. And if I don't do that, then I won't be in touch with reality, and things will just go on and be bad, and I won't ever fix them. But this is not how we're designed. This is not how we're designed. We're actually, if you understand what is creating the world around you, how thoughts are turning into things, what it is whatever is being focused upon and given attention to at any given time is becoming more. And so I'm not saying that people should not be looking at our problems. They should be looking at our problems. I look at our problems, but I look at them from the point of view of our solutions. I look at our problems from the point of view of our solutions. I don't just go in and get really sad about focusing on how terrible all the problems that we have on planet Earth are, and they're terrible. And if you start dialing in specifically, start caring about the specific human beings and non-human beings involved in the sixth mass extinction and the world poverty and the endless wars and all of that kind of scenarios. You start looking into the specifics and it can take you down because it's so effing sad. Really, it is. It is. It's so sad. But you know what? Don't look at it from that perspective. Look at it from the perspective of, well, who are we? Where are we going? And how can we fix this? What am I looking at? What is the problem? And I'll tell you what the problem is. There is only one problem, and every problem is some variation of that problem. And that's good. That makes it easy. That means there's only one thing we have to fix. And the only person that you can fix it for is yourself. But the more that you have it fixed for yourself, the more you inspire others to theirs, because it's just how the energies work. The more in alignment you are, it's the only thing that you have ultimate control over. No one can control that one. No matter what they do to your body, they cannot control the alignment within yourself between you and you. That's something that you can give it away, but no one else can take that from you. And once you figure out who you are and how this works, no one can get in between you and you. Now, having said that, some dastardly villain can certainly challenge me on that one. You may have to take it out to the biggest frame before that becomes ultimately true. Because somebody could say, well, you know what? I could come up with a vibrational weapon that no matter how much you try to stay in alignment with yourself, I can flip the switch on this and you will completely lose yourself. And that's true. And the reason that's true is because we are vibrational beings. But let's get out ahead of this one, and let's don't let it get to that point, okay? Because I personally believe that every human being that lives on the planet, and there may be other beings besides other intelligent beings besides ones from planet Earth. There could be human-looking. I don't want to get too crazy. Never mind. But I believe that every human being that lives on planet Earth, the greedy bastards who are responsible for the wars, the authoritarians at the top of the tickets of all the authoritarian countries all over the world, there is a vibrational tendency for democracy to turn into authoritarian. And the reason that it does that, study your Carl Jung. He called this phenomenon authoritarian psychosis, and it's a whole circuit issue. It has to do with our nature, our vibrational and psychological nature. Who are we? Where did we come from? Well, so let's go back and talk about I said we have an overview mind that was given to us by our genetic modification. It's our neocortex. It's the mind that can see past the immediate hit of emotion, that comes from, maternal instincts or territorial, defense, that sort of anger or fear or whatever, those primitive emotions coming from the lower part of the brain. The fight or flight. You're pissing me off. You've threatened my child. You're moving in on my territory, or any of those kind of things. And we as human beings have an overview mind. We got it because somebody tweaked human chromosome number 2, or at least it's my belief that somebody did. It is a fused chromosome, and it's hard to imagine, especially if you really understand anything about genetics, how you could explain how this particular fusion happened. Telomere to telomere, redundancies on both sides of the fusion, clipped away, causing the chromosome to hold together in this new fused form. And apparently, the two ones that were fused together to begin with were more primitive. They were ape chromosomes. And now, fused together, it's a human chromosome. That says to me that this is the missing link, that somebody genetically modified us. Somebody gave us this overview mind on purpose. And so that makes it suspicious that there would be something meaningful here. There is something meaningful here. Our overview emotions blend or don't blend with our overview soul. And when they blend well, we feel good. We call that positive emotions. We're in joy, we're in freedom, we're in fun, we're in hopeful, optimistic, eager, interested, thinking about all that. I can't wait to get started on these ideas. That's what positive emotion feels like, because that's the energy point that your inner being is at all times. Now, if your thoughts are not blending well with what your inner being knows to be true about the whole situation, and she knows because she is holographically in connection with the Planck fields of all the atomic structure of everything around everything, she knows what's true. She knows what's real. What's real in the real meaning of the word real, where all of the atoms really are. This world is not an illusion. But the way you're looking at it might be distorted. You might be misinterpreting what it is you're looking at instead of just flat out understanding what it is you're looking at. You are a part of the whole thing, a blessed and really important part. And we are all in this together. And the really important thing that we can all do in order to make the whole of us stronger, more diverse, more flexible, more, I haven't hit the right word yet. Resilient, more able to weather what the planet is going to throw at us. The way we do that is by being ourselves, not sacrificing ourselves. Big difference. Big difference. So who am I? And how do I think it's going to free us from fossil fuel? And why do I think that's going to be such a big deal? Well, of course it's going to be such a big deal. Do you know the 6th mass extinction that's going on the planet right now? There have been 5 previous mass extinctions on planet Earth. Every one of them caused by things like a volcano that blanketed the Earth in a nuclear winter. That caused one, I believe. A huge asteroid strike that did the same thing, disrupted climate patterns on the Earth, and a lot of the creatures who were depending on the sun and the rain and the wind being the way it was. Now it's nuclear winter and the plants don't grow, and all of the dinosaurs that had to eat massive amounts of greenery every day because they were so big. Well, that whole model just fell apart. And then up rose something else. And then, so there have been 5 mass extinctions on planet Earth prior to this. Well, there's a 6th one going on right now, and I have heard that it is as fast or faster than any other one that has happened. Now, I can't imagine that it would be faster than the one caused by something that struck the Earth and then boom, there it is, and boom, everything dies. But it's happening really fast. Human beings are causing it really fast. 100 years or a couple of hundred years ago, the planet did not have a carbon footprint issue. We didn't have anything other than, beeswax and some lamp oil. There wasn't any thing else going on the planet, although other civilizations have managed to create deserts. This civilization, we could fix it. We could come into a solution so breathtaking that it would be so pleasing to all of us that we would understand why we went into the problem to begin with, because my gosh, was that solution satisfying. So remember I said that there is only one problem. There is only one thing that we have to worry about: understanding what's going wrong in the world, that's creating all of our problems. Because it's human beings that are creating all of the problems, and how we are relating to each other is what's creating the problems, and how we could be relating to each other is where the solution would be. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about alignment. Alignment. And I am not the only one talking about alignment. There are a lot of other people who, in however it is that they are coming to the discussion board using this word, in alignment. We have a greater self who knows. And then we have a smaller self that thinks. And how the thinking is meshing with the knowing is creating our emotional guidance system. If we think something that is close to what we know, it feels good. If it's far away from what we know, it feels bad. It's like our inner being is giving us a relative read on the validity of the thoughts that we are thinking. And the reason that it can do that is because thoughts have vibrations. When you think a thought about your neighbor being mean and small and creepy and stupid, and you're glad he got hit by a car, or whatever. I'm just trying to be hyperbolic here about it. Your inner being does not feel that way at all about him, because she understands your wholeness, and that there is something really important about your neighbor that you don't understand, that you need to get. And as soon as you get it, something's going to open up in your consciousness that's going to give you some relief from that horrible angsty feeling that you feel about your neighbor. Now, you may come to a realization of how to deal with him and tame him and make him, play nice. Or you may, as you come into alignment with yourself and then you get a really good look at your neighbor, you might go, oh my effing gosh, yes, I was, so, where am I going with this one? Yes, I do need to love my neighbor, but he is genuinely scary. I need to move farther away from him. Some people you have to love from a farther distance, I have discovered. Now, you may feel your own calling. The actual object of the exercise is to come into alignment with the truth and reality and flow and energies of the field around you. Now, you can do it by feel. You do not have to consciously understand it. But if you aren't going to consciously understand it, then you'd better be in really good touch with your feelings. Because when you start thinking thoughts that appear to you to be true, but when you think them, something around you is looking mean and small, and you are starting to want to subtract it. You know, the way you have defined in your mind homeless people, for instance, or Jews, or. The fact is we're all here for a reason, every single one of us. And each and every one of us needs to be free to move around the spaces as they see fit. And then it would be helpful if we all understood what our internal guidance system was telling us. So that when we think thoughts that make us feel really bad, frightened, angry, vengeful, any state of negative emotion, thoughts that make us feel those feelings are small thoughts. And they may in some small way be true, but in the larger frame where your inner being resides, they are not true. And their lack of truth in the broader frame is making you feel bad. So here's your emotional guidance system. But I actually like this one better, and I have another one that also illustrates this, because you are two selves. One is your... actually, this picture should be different. As you align with your positive self, that one should get potentially bigger than what is potential on the negative self because of your but maybe that's not true. Maybe there is order and chaos. Order and chaos are the two forms of spin. And if you lock into your order, you can resist the chaos. And the chaos comes from spirits who do not understand, who have let their negative emotions carry them away. They do not realize that their negative emotion is not who they are. Their negative emotion is a product of thoughts that their small self has taken that their greater self does not agree with. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you are disagreeing with your broader perspective, I'm going to tell you right now which one of you can trust. Your broader perspective is the one who knows who you are, where you are, who everyone else is, where they are. It's what we all call the G word. But I want to be careful about using the G word, because you say it and people have all kinds of preconceived notions about what that is. I have defined it as the Almighty everything, and all of the laws and rules that apply. It actually is the field. The field itself is Lord. What is the field? The field is this sea of plonks. Plonks are the base fundamental form, the increment, unit. That's the word. The plonk is the base fundamental unit of the universe. The plonk. How do you get a plonk? Well, you take I have a thing here that says the Planck units. Where is the Planck units? Here's the Planck length. But I have Planck units, and it's a different kind of a picture too. There it is, the Planck units. Take a photon going at the speed of light, crossing its own diameter. photon, really small. Its diameter is very small. And when you're going at the speed of light, crossing your own diameter, man, that does not take much time, and you did not go very far. And all of that energy has an equivalence in mass. This is what the Planck units are: length, time, mass. And the universe is it's like a plasma sea of these Plancks. And when they are organized, they're Planck oscillators. Planck, they're vacuum fluctuations is what they're called. This is the oscillator mechanics. I got all these things. I got all this stuff. I want to tell you all about it. I want you to understand what kind of universe we actually live in. It's really super cool. And the design of the human being is a super duper cool design. And someone designed us to be this way because our emotions speak, they sing to the field. Did you know that? Your positive emotions, when you feel them, that is you all the way out to the edges of the universe, feeling resonance with the allness that surrounds you. I mean, it boils down to as big as that. Or boils up to as big as that. I don't know how you're going to put this. Who am I? Who am I and who are we? We are amazing creatures that someone created and forgot to leave us a user's manual. Or maybe we had one and it was swept away in the last flood. Or maybe the way we described who we were before was different because it was a story given to us by those who created us. And now we get to write our own story because where are they? And we wake up and go, who am I? What is my design? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What's the object of the exercise? What am I even supposed to be doing here on the planet? Raising children and teaching them what? Teaching them what? Who are we and how to operate smoothly and efficiently with one another and joyfully with one another. That's what we should be learning, but we can't do that if we don't understand who we are and how it works. So we're going to run through, I'm right up prior to an hour. I'm going to go past an hour, and the only people who are really going to hang with me are the ones who want to hear the whole story. One of these days, I'm going to do a seminar, and it's going to be 7 or 8 hours. Full hours without interruption. I am just going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to talk about everything. I'm going to talk about our genetic modification. I'm going to talk about our inner being design. We're going to talk about the laws of the universe. The laws as they come to us from Abraham and Bashar, and then the laws of physics of the universe, the way they come from Nassim and his team of physicists and mathematicians over at the ISF.org, International Space Federation, and the Resonance Science Foundation.org. All of that, we're going to put it all together and show you how. We do not need to be plugged into fossil fuels. We do not need to be plugged into fossil fuels. But when we plug into source energy, something's going to happen, and it's going to open up a whole new can of worms. And it's one of the reasons why over-unity devices have been held back from us for 100 years. Because we couldn't be trusted with free, clean energy at everybody's fingertips, because we still had Hitlers and such roaming the earth. We still have, Kim Jong-un over there. We have had a need for us all to be in it together still, until and unless we really understand how this works and who we are. And then we can all go off into the bushes and do our collective, our individual thing, and then tag back to the whole collectively. We have our little kingdoms and tribes that go off and create our massive orchards and gardens and whatever, either to produce product to put out on the supply chain or to produce experience to entice people to physically come to their location. Those are the two kinds of ideas that are going to take us into the future. The production of some goods or other, because we all are going to need food and energy and technologies and such moving forward. And so you either go off with your tribe and your recipes and your, whatever, and you create your little kingdom, and then it is either producing goods that go up on the human supply chain that you can trade yourself for things that your tribe needs, technologies but everybody will not have to beggar themselves in order to get energy anymore. You will not have to sell your soul to the devil as the small nation that you are in order to get oil and gasoline and jet fuel and that sort of thing. That will be a thing of the past. We can plug our technologies that now we still have to acquire hard technologies, the items, the computer, the speakers, the modem, the light bulbs, the AC unit. We still need the technologies, but the power to run it is in the field, everywhere. This 0 point energy field that you hear everybody talking about. What is it? Well, it's this sea of Plancks, and you are that. That is who you are. Now, the way I fundamentally divide the universe is I divide it into two fundamental aspects. It is, and you can agree with me or not, this is just the way I've organized it in my own mind, in my own consciousness, how I've got this organized out. There is form and formless. Form and formless. The formless is an energy that is giving rise to the form. Now, when you ask the question, who am I? The actual answer is who you actually are is the formless. And the formless has come into form. So you are that too. But fundamentally, you are the formless, and the formless is a priori to the form. It is primary. The formless is primary. And then the form comes second. And the formless actually is vibration. It's vibration. You are a vibration. You are the energy itself. And you have come into this physical body. And you are more than just the physical body that you find yourself in. You are the whole field around you. So you are your family, you are your neighbors, you are everybody. And now when you think about what do I want to do for a living, what kind of business do I want to start? What kind of actions do I want to do? What do I want to bring to the world? What would be fun? What can I shout? What can I pour my love and energy and creativity into? You got to ask yourself that. What do you want to do? You can do anything and just bring some value back to the whole. Bring some value back to the whole. Because we are all in this together. We are each of us individuals in a collective venture. So the ones who say, it's a me world, you have to look out for number one because nobody else will. So it's me, me, me. And then those who say, no, we are all in this together, and so you can't do anything just for yourself. You have to always, always, always think about everybody else. Don't be selfish. Excuse me. Don't be selfish. Think about everybody else. And the truth of the matter actually is a conglomeration of both of those. Because the way you need to be looking at it is as a win-win paradigm. And it isn't going to be a win-win paradigm if you don't win too. So you can put yourself up there at the top of the list as the number one. You do need to look out for number one, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that the number one that you really are includes more than just you, and so you aren't actually going to be happy unless more than just you thrives, succeeds. You're not going to be happy if you are the one rich person in a land of abject poverty. If you were the one person that got everything you want in a world where everybody else didn't, I promise you, you wouldn't be happy. And if you found a way to be happy in some way with that, you either have to figure out how to not be aware of everybody else's pain, or what's the other way that you could? That might be the only way. Because we have in our makeup, we have something called mirror neurons. It wasn't that long, a couple of decades ago maybe, that they figured out that we had those. They are a class of neurons right in there with the rest of our brain neurons that fire when we observe something happening. We do not have to actually do it in order for it to fire in our brain as though it had happened. And so if you're looking around at other people misbehaving, they are firing chaotic neurons off in your own brain and making you uncomfortable. And that's why you want to say, hey, stop acting that way, when in a way it's not any of your business what other people are doing. In a way, it is none of your business. On the other hand, it is valid to want other people to be more in alignment with their source, because when all of us are in more general alignment with who we are and who source energy is and what it is and how it works and what the laws about it are, that which is like unto itself is drawn, and what you put out is what you get back, and everything is here and now, and the all are one and the one is all, and everything changes except for the laws, that kind of stuff. And then the Abraham stuff, the steps 1, 2, 3 of creation. Step 1, contrast, causes you to ask for more, for better, for improvement, for what you want, carving it out of what is around you. And in the doing so, you proclaim, who am I? Who you are, what you prefer, what you think is blessed and would be cool and fun and whatnot, in your own diverse way. Step 1, contrast causes you to ask. Step 2, source answers vibrationally. It gives you, immediately upon asking, the vibration of the answer is given to you. And if you go find that vibration, actually, all you have, it can just be general. It can just be general. Know that your emotional guidance system is a general, it's your inner being vibrationally saying, come this way. And she's showing you a path that's really big, that has a lot of things that you're going to have to pick specifically from. She's saying just generally, this love and connection and harmonistic synergy and such. And from that, you pull all kinds of ideas. Ooh, I could do this. Or I could do that. Or, oh my gosh, and I love that. And these people, do you see how it works? Do you see how it works? Get into alignment with your own inner being and follow the promptings, the impulses, the feelings that you get from that good feeling, positive place. Now, open up your eyes and cast your gaze out to the outside world again. From that good feeling place. And now take the impulses. What do I do? You're still aware of the bad. You still remember that we're undergoing sixth mass extinction and there's wars raging everywhere. And we're on the verge of virtually electing a freaking authoritarian dictator here in the land of democracy. And what kind of lesson is that going to teach? Well, what it teaches us is that who we are. And there's this vibrational thing that happens to us. And what is the antidote? If you understand your emotional guidance system, you would never elect that authoritarian because he's angry. He's angry and he's impulsing on his outrage and his blame. He's pointing, they're to blame, they're to blame, they're to blame. Hand it over to me and I will fix it because we're going to stop that over there and we're going to put an end to that thing over there and whatever. And at first, in a way, it starts looking a little bit better, kind of, because a whole lot of people, it's not like herding cats anymore. It's almost like herding, cattle. They all jump into, and they're moving together. And it's like, oh, things are happening. We're building the Autobahn. That's good, right? Yeah, people are, full employment. This is great. But the vision at the base of it, the spirit intention, the vision, the paradigm structure at the core of that is flawed. And it will never take us to where we want to be. Where we want to be is a place where we are all free to choose our own path in a way where we can be trusted, not to choose paths that, arm ourselves to the teeth and then go forth and blast holes in everybody else or whatever. When we all generally understand that we are all in this together and all of our energies are contributing to everybody else's energy. Your meanness is inspiring meanness in the field, and your coherence is inspiring coherence in the field. So get into alignment with your own personal inner being and follow the clear guidance that you get from that position, whatever it is. And I would be the last person to give you advice about any specific thing to do other than the original achieving of the understanding of who we are. I think that I would advise people to listen to my podcast and I will tell you, or go do your own research, it doesn't matter, or listen to my podcast and I will tell you. We will talk about who am I, and then from a general understanding of your configuration, who you are and how it works, you go out and make your choices. Follow your bliss. Be your authentic self for the whole, because we are all in this together and we need you. We need your diversity. We need my diversity. So let's see, what time is it? It is almost 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to... Am I going to say any more? Hold on one second. Let me think about this. Actually, I don't think I'm quite done yet. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to talk about one more thing. A little bit more. And that is, we're going to talk about energy for a second. We're going to talk about the idea of drawing our energy needs directly from this field of almost infinite energy everywhere. So this idea that you can't have a device that just somehow translates the energy to you. You can't just plug in, you can't have a device that puts out more energy than it takes us to run it. When you say it that way, you can almost see why people believe you can't do that. They say that because, well, you can't create energy out of nothing because there is an equilibrium going on between, you can't the energy is what the energy is, and you neither create any of it nor do you subtract any of it. It is what it is. You can't create energy out of nothing, but you're not creating energy out of nothing. We're going to talk about over unity devices and the history of over unity devices. And if you by any chance work in an industry that works with, or either you're doing it or you work with people who are working with energy, you may get a feeling in the pit of your soul how important this little piece of information is, that you can create a device. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's a lot of different ways that it has been done. And every single one of them, the actual designs have been spirited away by whoever, men in Escalades and black suits and, whatever, working for the patent office or whatever. They come in and they take these devices because we're not ready. Now, you could also get very cynical and think, well, the reason that this is being suppressed is because there are literally hundreds of trillions of dollars of economic activity directly associated with the exchange of energy in the fossil fuel industry. When you count the fossil fuel and then all of the rippling related economic activity engendered from that, hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of economic power and control are involved in the fossil fuel industry. And so it would be easy to be very cynical and say, well, that's the reason why they keep stealing it from us, because the fact is that from a national security issue, from a national security standpoint, we really can't be trusted with that. And the reason we can't be trusted with that is because we don't know who we are, and we don't play nice with each other. And we still have this idea that it is us against them, and that there existeth upon the earth anything that I could call an other. But there doesn't. There is only me. There is only us. And we are all in this together. And so the problem is that when you have free, clean energy that you can plug your technology into, you can just, load your buses up with whatever technology you think you're going to need, and you go out into some place on some lake or whatever in some wilderness somewhere where there isn't any infrastructure, and it doesn't matter anymore because your phone is wireless. Your energy is wireless. You can just plug your technology into the field, into the source of the energy that creates worlds. You just plug it into that. And now you can grow your orchards, your gardens, your whatever. And you can either have your own little kingdom insulated from your little culty kingdom, insulated from the rest of the world, or you have your little business or whatever, and regularly you fly your apples or your peaches or whatever, your salmon, whatever it is that you're doing, out and add it to the human supply chain, and in exchange you get currency that allows you to select something different from the human supply chain. You see how that works? I understand everything about spiritual healing, and so I'm so good that you come to me, I put you on my table, I work some magic, I do some aromatherapy and some sound therapy and some massage therapy and some Reiki therapy and some philosophical therapy, and when you walk out of here, you're like way in alignment, and you're like, yes, I'll pay for that. Or whatever it is you're good at. Are you good at organizing young people into wholesome, productive activities. Well, that's great. And how young is your specialty? Middle schoolers? God bless you then. Oh my gosh. You deserve, a couple of weeks a year at Club Med just to recover from that kind of action. My own mother, her specialty was early childhood development. And unfortunately, that is not my specialty. And so I can't be the same, I can't play the same role as grandmother as my mother played to my children. My children, for their children, they got to go find, childhood development specialists. So sad. I kind of wish I was an early childhood development. But I would like to be an understanding of total human development. And from that standpoint, we can all come from that standpoint. Who am I? And what does my getting into alignment with myself look like? What do I feel physically called into action to do? Now, I think a lot of people are probably being called to podcast and broadcast in some way. I have a YouTube channel and 63 followers. So proud of that. Pride goeth before a fall, though. So even if it went down to nothing, I'm proud of the fact that I can sit in front of a microphone and talk about meaningful things with energy flowing for an hour and 21 minutes all by myself. I'm actually proud of that. I don't think everybody can do that. And someday it's going to serve me. It really is. I don't know how, but things are always working out for me. And if I just have faith and I keep following the guidance of my inner being, she's going to lead me to things that are going to be very satisfying to me. And right now, I am satisfied and eager for more. Can't wait. It's so much fun. The world is a fun place to be. Unless you get crosswise of your own inner flow, you get crosswise of that, and it will beat you up. Just as though there is a devil out there intentionally trying to lure you in. It will look exactly like that, but it's just you. It's just you getting crosswise of your own design, your own energy field, your own understanding of the goodness of the universe. These bugs are probably giving me messages and I keep trying to kill them. The message is, get out of my house. It's these elm seed bugs. They're ridiculous creatures. And I think they're living in my evaporative cooling system. So anyway, who am I, and how is my better understanding of this whole thing gonna help us all get to where we want to be? Well, it'll help you get to where you want to be, and that's a good start. That's a great start. And as a matter of fact, the more that every individual gets to where they want to be, the more collectively we're all getting to where we all want to be. Did you know that? We really are all in this together. In a good way. And I guess that's that. I'll leave it with that. I'm coming up on an hour and a half, and I don't want to go past that. We'll see how the podcast, whether that runs better as an hour and a half venture. I could go back to the whole 2-hour thing. And what I should start doing is taking clips from my videos, listening to them again, and then clipping out shorts and, getting people to come my way, come to see Amelie Starchild, the queen of the world, queen of earth, queen of the planet. No, queen of the universe, has to be queen of the universe. No, I don't know. I don't say my actual name because I haven't really wanted it to be about my ego. I want it to be about the message. Someday I may be forced to say who I am and why I think I know so many things. We all do. You just have to find that soft, allowing place within your own self. Every one of us has the ticket into universal consciousness. It's like a mirror thing that we've got that within ourselves, that if you turn it just right, it will reflect the information of the whole universe back to you. And in this way, you have access to the whole universe. Now, what are you going to do with that? Well, just go from a small perspective. Go find what you want. But know that you are connected to this larger being who is truly not going to be completely, fully happy, integrated, and joyful and free until... What was I going to say exactly? Hold on one second. Actually, I don't know. I don't know why I said not going to be free until. But you do have this mirror thing inside of you that when you get still and turn it just the right way, you have access to all the information of all the universe. It's because of the way it is transferring up and down the scales holographically. That's why you can believe it. Your physical brain can look at this pattern and have faith and trust that this works. It really works. It really is working out for you. You really are the formless. You are the Planck field, becoming whatever you can find your clear desire way to. Your clear desire, your clear desire is not necessarily physically translated. That's your work, to physically translate the spirit of your pure desire. And your pure desire, without condition, is joy, freedom, love, abundance, relationship, efficiency, creativity. It's that's the uncondition of it. That's who you are. You are the unconditioned aspect of it, translating the meaning of that unconditioned that you are into this physical space. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's a whole lot easier to do that if you understand the rules. And if you don't understand the rules and you get yourself crosswise of your energy stream, I want it but, or you're focusing all the time on the things you don't like, thinking that condition is primary when vibration is primary. You get yourself crosswise of that and the world can beat you up pretty good. Pretty good. You have to stay in a place where you are identifying with your greater, truer, more invulnerable self. And then you feel the safety of this universe that you are in. Nothing can touch you from there. Nothing can touch you from there. Now, admittedly, you got to go out and, come back to earth a bit. But you have this ability to, fly to the sky and see who you really are, and then go, come back down to earth and make some choices about what to make for dinner and what to say to your kids in response to, their questions or that behavior of theirs or, whatever. You have to come down and make the secret to how to do that correctly and effectively and successfully, that's the word, successful to your desires, is to be in a good place when you do it in the first place. Don't apply yourself to that thing that you care so much about if you are in a state of negative emotion, because in some small or large way, you are only messing it up now. You are not cohering it, you are chaosing it. So pull yourself back, withdraw your attention from that thing that you care so much about, and put it on something else. Something else that, so you can't stay withdrawn from that on the basis of, I'm not going to think about that, I'm not going to think about that, I'm not going to think about that, because that's not a good way to not think about that, because you're thinking about it even as you do that. So the answer is you got to put your attention on something else, something that you find enjoyable, preferable, interesting, fun, something that you can find that draws your attention because it pulls something inside of you some direction. Find it. Focus that way. Make that bigger. The momentum of that will grow. And if it is in alignment with the spirit of your inner being, the positive, optimistic, joyful, connected, abundant you, loving you that you really are, if it's connected to all of that, then, well, you're going to be successful. You're going to be able to walk straight to what you want. It's not contradicted by the, yeah, but I believe such and such. You got to work out. It's your responsibility to find your way to your desires. And if you find that your desires, you can't reach your desires, maybe you're off in a little bit in what you are desiring. Like, say if I desired to be the king of a billion-dollar empire that I was sole dictator of. That's what I want. Well, I got a right to want that if I want that, but looks like I've gone over an hour and 30 minutes, but I'm on a thought. Should I finish the thought? Hold on. So what I'm saying is, maybe what I want to do is I want to jump on my trampoline until I can finally make it to Mars. You know, until high enough until I can hit Mars. And then I'll be happy. Or some such. I'm just trying to come up with some scenario of something that I want that you can see is physically ridiculously absurd and out of alignment with anything that would be meaningful to me or helpful to my life or anybody around me, right? So what I'm saying is maybe my desires have to give a little too. My desires give a little, and my beliefs give a little, and I massage it, and I find the place in between where my pure desire meets my belief about being able to achieve it, and then I move straight to it. And when I come from it knowing that I am designed to get whatever I want, easily I can flow straight to what I want, when what I want is what the whole field wants too. But when everybody around you is resistant, like if all I want is to screw all of you over, you're going to resist me. You're not going to be cooperative components to that. Unless I'm seeing it as a win-lose us versus them game, and then maybe you are cooperative components to that, because you look at me and you go, I see the us and them. We're the us, you're the them. And we look and we go, no, we're the us, you're the them. Do you see what the problem is? Who am I? Where did we come from? What is this freaking design that we have? How do our emotions sing to the field? And how does understanding how our emotions, it's like this cosmic instrument of glory is what our emotions really are. And the idea is to find the joy inside of you. Find the highest vibrational frequency that you can, and then turn to the actual real world around you and try to meet the two of them. Try to experience, how do you experience those emotions through physicality, through the trueness of what's going on around us. Well, I'll tell you what would make me really happy. If I saw us turn our trajectory intentionally around as human beings, if we could come into a knowing of who we really are. I am mankind with a capital M, and I am worthy. And you are mankind, and you are worthy, and we are all in this together. And how can we sing and dance this whole thing together? How can we pull together the whole systems management of the whole planet? Well, the way you do it is you start with yourself, and each and every individual having a better understanding of who we are, who they are, and how to be your authentic self and sing your voice. Pay attention to your feelings and don't unleash your demon on us. Take care of your own demon and keep him locked under the land of Xanth, giving you magic. There, I just lost a lot of people on that reference. But a couple of people went, huh, I know what you're saying. Anyway, I'm well past an hour and a half. How did I do that? I blew right through it. This is my second I'm going to put it up as a podcast, and we're going to see whether anybody goes and looks at it there. Podcasts, people expect to sit and just listen to for a while. So we'll see how that works. In any case, until tomorrow, God bless you. I love you. Do your best to stay in your own alignment with your own inner being, because it matters. It literally, literally matters. And until tomorrow, as always, may the source be with you.